What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thanks for joining. LeBron James is a disgusting human being. His actions show that, and I'm just going to go all out and just call him a trash human being. I've seen enough. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. It does not excite me to say this. As you might know, if you follow the NBA, LeBron James brought a championship on his back along with other players, but he brought a championship. He was the main person from Ohio. He's done some great things. He's done some great community things, but this is overshadowing it, and I'm pretty heated about it because it represents a bigger issue. LeBron James doubles down on push to fire Wizards broadcaster over shot call. This is in regards to a game-winning shot that was made by Kevin Porter Jr. He plays for the Houston Rockets. He hit this exciting game-winning shot, and the Wizards announcer, the other team, his name is Concert, he said, "What a well-designed play. You got to give him credit. Kevin Porter Jr., like his dad, pulled that trigger at the right time." So when you're talking about basketball, you hit a shot, you pull the trigger. It's not like a gun, but you're saying I'm pulling the trigger to hit this jumper. So the problem with it, and I was shocked by it as well. The problem with it is that Kevin Porter Jr.'s father, Brian Kevin Porter Sr., spent more than 4 years in prison when he pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter in a 93 incident. Porter's father was eventually shot and killed, unfortunately, in 2004. Not from any wrongdoing. From what I know, he was trying to help somebody who was attacked at a bar. So you see the problem. His son hits a game-winning shot, and the announcer says he pulled his trigger like his dad, who got locked up for literally pulling a trigger. So I was taken aback too. I'm like, whoa, why would an announcer even play like that? That sounds like somebody on Twitter making a bad joke. So LeBron came back and said, "Oh, he thought he was cool, huh? Now we ain't going for this. Sorry about this. Ain't going to fly. How insensitive can you be to say something like this? Beat it, man. I pray for you, but there's no place in our beautiful game for you," he wrote. So LeBron James came after him. After I saw this story, I sent the text to my brothers like, "Man, this is crazy. What's going on here? Why would you even, was he locked and loaded with that trigger blast? What's going on?" I'm not in cancel culture. So I will ask the question, LeBron James called for him to be fired. Of course, LeBron James is into cancel culture. One of the reasons why I'm not into cancel culture is I don't have all the information. So it comes out, Glenn Concert, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, Glenn Concert says, I want to sincerely apologize to Kevin Porter Jr. and clarify last night's call. Please allow me to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize to Kevin Porter Jr., his family, and the Rockets organization for the comments I made during last night's game. I mistakenly thought that Kevin was the son of former Washington player Kevin Porter and was unaware that the words I chose to describe his game-winning shot would be in any way hurtful or insensitive. I've reached out to Kevin to personally apologize, and I hope to be able to talk with him soon. This is a reasonable explanation. He said, I thought that Kevin Porter Jr. was the son of a former Wizards player, that he's the announcer for the Wizards. So when he said pull the trigger like his father, he was talking about the Kevin Porter who played for the Wizards. He wasn't talking about his dad who literally pulled the trigger and shot somebody. We got more information. So, LeBron, are you adjusting your take? No. He doubles down on push to fire Wizards broadcaster over shot call. We can't live like this, bruh. He is a prominent figure with millions of followers. You have new information, you adjust your take. Double down on him getting fired. He provided a reasonable explanation. Has no history in his past of any type of issues or bad takes on basketball, out of line takes. No history. Trying to get him fired. And if the announcer was black, LeBron James would have had nothing to say. Race baiting clowns. I swear, I'm tired of this. LeBron James called for Glenn Concer's job on Twitter a day after the broadcaster made the remark. Concer apologized, but for the Lakers superstar, that wasn't enough. You know what, LeBron? Fuck you. It's enough. I'm heated about this. You have too much prominence to be acting like a clown. He added there was no excuse for the remark given the amount of information announcers received before the tip-off. Yeah, I agree that the announcers get these sheets and all this information. He's a human being. He made a mistake. And there was no intent to bring up the father. So yes, I agree. You should have the information and know that. But it was an honest mistake. You don't know what's in his head. Maybe the announcer is lying. I don't know. But you don't know and I don't know. So how are you going to call for him to be fired? LeBron says he stands by his tweet. I stand by everything I said. So let's just say he thought that was the case. We get scouting reports on players. I know you guys from the media all get memos and stuff for players and stuff before the game, right? Why can't you adjust your take? And now I'm wondering if LeBron James knew. I didn't know a Kevin Porter who played for the Wizards. Maybe I forgot him. I used to be a basketball fan. But I have a feeling LeBron James knew there was a Kevin Porter, and maybe many other NBA fans knew there was a Kevin Porter, and that's where the mistake came from or could have come from. So why wasn't that your take at first? He gets packets and stuff. You know players too, LeBron. So you didn't couch your take by saying, I don't know if he confused it with a former Wizard player. Here's why, in part, why I'm heated. It's the power that LeBron James has, and he's using it for evil, and just can't act like a grown man and say, oh, we got new information. I don't know what's in his heart, but his explanation makes sense. You know what? Going forward, it's really important to look at those sheets you get before the game. That would be a legitimate take. Instead, he's doubling down. No, he still needs to get fired. Obviously, it's a race thing. Always is with LeBron. In part, why I'm heated by this is this evil. When I grew up, it was more like it was more of a positive pro-black movement. It wasn't a attack, and I was not a part of it. I've never been an identitarian, but I didn't have as much of a problem with it because it wasn't a attack white people at every moment movement. It was more of black is beautiful and, a more positivity thing. Like, look at all these positive things we're doing. Look at the positive things that black people can do. I know that sounds stupid too, but it's not as bad as this. And where it's heading to is New York, Minnesota, and even Utah are rationing scarce C-19 therapeutics based on race. The federal government is doing this, the FDA. They created a point system to create a hierarchy of who gets these drugs first based on race. And the only people, this evil ideology that treats government as God and everything as racist, except those in power, we ignore them. This evil ideology is so beautiful. The only people who can speak out against this are people of color. Because what white person can speak out about this? They're obviously going to be a racist or whatever you want to label them. So black people are kind of like staying out of this. Man, we can't stay out of this. What are you about? Is this how you want to live? It's ridiculous. The same energy that supports LeBron James not making adjustments when he got new information is the same energy that supports this. It's racism. This is not systemic racism. This is, you hear all this, it's systemic racism. And I understand what they mean by that. This is overt racism. This isn't systemic. When you talk about Jim Crow stuff, that's overt racism. That's not systemic. Systemic racism is when the policies disproportionately affect people, but they don't actually name race. We got to stand up. We have to stand for something. We're going to fall like fools. As soon as this all turns and your usefulness, you black identitarians that support LeBron James and support this ridiculous health policies based on race, as soon as that table turns, you're going to look like a damn fool. Let me know what you think. Take care.